Okay, everybody, and welcome back to the show. Happy Tuesday for those that are here live. Happy whatever day of the week it is for you. Thanks so much for joining us here. We've been talking about this idea of using information properly, knowing information properly. I think it's critical. My opinion. What do I know? That's what I think. I think that if we took all the information we ever heard, look at ever, think about the information you got in the past 6 months. If you took all that information, then you cut it in half. Then you cut that in half. I got it up to a quarter. And you cut that in half. And you cut that in half. And you got to I think I'm at the 1/16th. You take all the information, you get one little sliver. One little sliver. And you take that little sliver and you think about that sliver every day, you will gain more in your life than if you have all that information. Especially if it's transformational information, right? If it's the War of 1812, it's not going to do much for you, right? If it's the story of whoever, it may not help you that much. If it's, going through how somebody built something, unless you can really connect it to your life, it's fine. I'm talking about information that's actually meant to make you different. Advice, articles, speeches, podcasts, things that are meant for you to be better. If you take all of it and take a tiny sliver and play that every single day, as you try to do the thing, you will gain much more out of it than if it's just another thing to listen to. And it's because of what we've been talking about here, which is this incredible, this chasm between knowledge and conditioning, between I know it and I feel it, between I should or shouldn't and I'm not. It's very different. I know how to throw a ball versus I'm actually learning how to throw a ball. I know that it's wrong to treat my children this way versus how could anyone ever do it? I can feel that it's wrong. This is the change that the high holidays are about. Because most people know what's right and wrong, but they don't know how to do it. They don't know how to actually live it. And the reason is because they don't look at information like a coach whispering in their ear, and they take the information and they drag it with them into the playground called life. Remember last week we spoke about that your life is a practice. All we do all day is practice. And the only person we have to worry about are people that don't think it's practice. Even the biggest things in the world are practice. That, by the way, in my opinion, again, for those who aren't, it doesn't matter. Wherever you are, I love you. I'm just giving you my background because I'm giving you my life. If you live in a faith-based world where you engage in rituals, you know this instinctively, that everything is basically practice. Because you do it again, and again, and again, and again. If you're lucky, right? If you live long enough. And so when you look back at the way you prayed on a Yom Kippur, or the way you ate a matzah on a Seder, or the way you lit a menorah on Hanukkah 5 years ago, and you're growing, it's embarrassing. It's embarrassing because you know more, you've learned more, you didn't realize it then, and you will then realize that yesterday was practice. And this applies in your life. If you go to work and you look at your work from 5-10 years ago, yes, we spoke about books. If you read your own book or any work, an essay you wrote in high school, and you're growing in writing, you'll be embarrassed because everything yesterday was a draft. And when you live in that space and you stop worrying about I'm perfect or need to be perfect, but I'm just practicing, then you're going to hear a coach speak and go, hey, throw it this way. In practice, you listen to the coaches. And so when there's information around you that inspires you, if you want to actually make that work, you need to look at that information and capture it and then go out and try to use it. Go out and try to use it. I heard that, I watch tons of this stuff. At least I used to watch a lot more. I heard that all successful CEOs get up at this time and this is why, and you hear that? If it moves you, you got to get up. You got to try it. I heard that if you write a notebook, I heard from somebody, right? Journaling. Remember that? Remember those days? My old timers here. Remember the journaling days? You hear it? Resonates you? Open up a journal. Go back to the episode. What was he talking about? Why? What were the benefits? Am I getting the benefits? Am I doing it right? Practice every day. Practice, practice, practice. I'm reading a book about the art of listening. It's fascinating. I got to go out and do it. And I go to work, and I'm learning how to listen and ask questions and probe into someone else's mind, and etc., etc., etc. What we do is get the information, close the back cover, and be like, that's amazing. I should really do that. Okay, remind yourself, the next time you're in a conversation, actively listen. The next time you're in a conversation and you have something to say and you're like talking over somebody, you're like, well, oh, I read that book. Remember the book? Yeah. That information's lost. It stays in your brain. It doesn't belong in your brain. Unless you're spitting it back on a test. Most information is meant to actually use. That's what we get it for. And our brain is, remember, an energy-saving machine. So it's really good. I mean, really good at making you forget the things that don't matter. Think about how many things in life you knew and which you can't remember anything about. How much do you remember of any of your formal education? Like if you've been out for 10 years, like really, if I gave you a test on any subject that you've taken at any point of your formal education, if it's not your career, and usually even if it is, what grade you can get on that test? Even if it was your favorite subject in growing up. Neuroplasticity, your brain, it's called synaptic pruning. Your brain's always looking for what it can. Your brain's an efficient machine. Your brain's the greatest gardener of all time. Your brain's always pruning. You don't think of something for a couple of days, it's out. Sort of remember, sounds familiar. Nah, just get me started. And so, when you think about taking in information, and we talk about conditioning it, we have to really start at the top, which is the goal. If you're taking in information to change your life, or that's inspiring you, and you're not taking that information and doing something different with it than you would do with other information, you are treating it inappropriately. It's okay, it doesn't mind, it's just not working for you. That nugget of information, if you treat it like you're scrolling down on Facebook or on Instagram, whatever, that nugget of information will be lost. That's only one problem. The second problem is that when you hear that nugget again, you'll go, I heard that already. And you won't even re-engage in it. So you're just compounding the loss. Then when you hear it a third time, you're feeling guilty already that you haven't done it before. So based on cognitive dissonance, you're going to push it away and go, nah, I don't know if it even works. So information is so critical if it's being used right. And the way you use it is you have to almost imagine someone telling it to you to go do. You'll see. If you're reading something and you hear something that inspires you and you think, I got to go do, first of all, you'll get a lot better at discerning what is real and what's not real. Because some of that information out there is a little fluff. You'll get it quick. And if you don't get it right away, you'll get it after you practice a few times. But if you stop and go, wait, this is a nugget. This is important. What do I do with this? I want to go out and apply it to my life. Today. This week. I'm doing it. I'm not waiting. Does it make sense now? Did the application work? Let me go back and hear what do I think was in their heads? Why did they do that for? Let me see if I can research this a little bit. This is something I didn't think about before. This is a little hack that really helps me. This is a perspective that is right. I really should be more like. This is the stuff of greatness. This is how people become great, really. I see this all the time. People that are less affiliated and learn and become more affiliated with something. In particular, I'm talking about people that are more affiliated with faith. A lot of reason why they got there is because they were so curious for information and they applied it. It's incredible. I see this with entrepreneurs all the time. People that are so interested in being an entrepreneur. They're constantly searching information, constantly looking for advice and applying it. And they're growing exponentially. And you see that same person in some big corporate building, well, not the same person, but the corollary of that person gets the same bit of advice from like his manager, and is like, yeah. If you get information that's meant to transform, if you don't activate it, you lose it. All right, we'll talk about this. All right, everybody, have a great day. With God's help. Can't wait to speak to you again tomorrow.